Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about how destructive the health system is in our modern society. And this is going to be a video where I rant a bit, so just warning you. But the health system, especially in the Western society, which is what I'm familiar with, is absolutely fucked, right? And it's completely fucked you up. It's the reason that majority of people, probably including yourself, are overweight. It's the reason that most people are in pain. And it's the reason that most people spend way too much money on pharmaceuticals, on surgery, and on the healthcare system in general. And this is it makes sense on a macro level because what do people want? Money. Healthcare system wants money. So it is in their best interests for pharmaceutical companies to make sure you are sick, to make sure you are in pain, to make sure you cannot live the life you want, and you rely on them and you spend money on them to live a normal life. And it starts with everything from diet. Let's start with diet. Okay, so the food pyramid is completely false, right? The food pyramid, I can't even remember what the food pyramid is because it's been so long. But back when we were kids, we were taught to eat majority of our diet being grains, bread, rice, carbohydrates, cereal, oats. We were told that the majority of our diet should be that. And if we have a diet like that, then we will become healthy. But it's just not true, right? And they said that meat was bad, right? Especially, well, where I grew up, but it's completely different. In our culture, meat was like terrible, right? Because, that's just the culture. We had barely any meat. But even in the West, like the whole world, meat was the enemy. Saturated fats was the enemy. You can't have eggs. No, don't worry about that. And the reasoning was because money, right? The farmers, like, they wanted everyone to eat more grains. They realized, they definitely knew that eating more grains made you sick. Eating more carbohydrates, more processed foods are going to make you sick. They're going to make you unhealthy. But they didn't care, right? So a lot of people know about the diet side of things. Like a lot of people know now that, like you should have more protein in your diet, right? If you want to put on muscle, if you want to be in shape, you need to have some protein in your diet. That's the basic building blocks of our existence, right? So we know that now. That's quite common knowledge that we've been fucked in terms of diet and the knowledge about diet. Even things like eggs, like the whole egg thing is a complete myth. Like, you shouldn't have whole eggs because it's gonna fuck up your cholesterol. That's all. That's another myth. But that's a story for another day. But what a lot of people don't know is this exists all throughout healthcare. So even, for example, the whole idea of having a scan, like if you're in pain, like a back pain or neck pain, you may have gone and the first thing the doctor says is, "Oh, you should get a scan to just make sure you know what's going on." Okay, so this is the first step. So you get a scan and an X-ray, which is like it's pretty ridiculous because X-rays don't even show that much. So if we talk about back pain and spinal pain, but okay, let's say you get an MRI or a CT scan, which is what they usually do at the start. And you come back to the scan to the doctor, and on the scan it says, "Oh, between L4 and L5, you've got a disc bulge." And you're like, "Huh? Disc bulge? What is that?" And then they're like, "Oh, like it shows like there's a problem here on the scan." It's like, oh, and you're like, "Oh my God, I've got a problem," right? You might have some minor back pain, but it's made into a big deal. It's like, "Oh my God, my disc." And then you talk to someone else, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I had a disc, and then I had to get an operation done." And then you start getting worried about what's going on, and that just makes the pain even worse. So this is what they don't tell you. Doctors will never tell you this, and any person who does scans, radiographers, they won't tell you this. But the reality is, anybody over 35, if we essentially grab a random person off the street who has no pain at all, he might have a disc bulge as well on the scan. So now with like so you're in pain, you've got a disc bulge. But they don't tell you that if I grab a random person off the street and I look at their results, disc bulge as well, like how does that? So how is that a finding that we should take seriously? It's not. But why is it done? To scare your ass. Why do you want to scare you? So we could go further across the healthcare system. Then you go to a specialist. Oh my God, look, you got this bulge here, so that's a bad thing. No, you need to be on this medication, or even worse, we need to get you on surgery. We need to cut into your spine, shave off a bit of the bone, so your disc has room to breathe. And like it just makes no sense. And a lot of these surgeries are actually not necessary for spinal issues, for knee issues, all across the body. They're overdone because a lot of these issues, like a lot of people have pain, but it's not actually from the disc or from the nerve, a pinched nerve, something like that. Just because it shows on the scan doesn't mean that it's what it's actually causing the pain. And this is what's crazy. People spend so much money, so much time on medications, on surgery, when they could fix their issues naturally. That's the craziest thing that I saw in physiotherapy, because I physically saw this with my eyes, right? There were like people would come to me. They said, "Oh, I need surgery," and I said, "Look, let's try, at least a month, 2 months of physiotherapy, exercise, lifestyle changes, and see how you go, okay? And if you get better, then obviously you don't need surgery. But if you get worse, if you stay the same, then potentially you're a candidate for something." I'm not saying that nobody ever needs surgery. There are some situations where you do. What I'm saying is it's completely overdone. What I'm saying is that the healthcare system and majority of what you're being told by experts is a fucking lie. And it's all in their interest to keep you sick, and it's all in their interest to keep you in pain, weak, so you can rely on pharmaceuticals and surgery. Really, that's their motive, right? You can even go even further up and say people just want to keep you weak, so you're easier to control. That's another layer as well. But yeah, that's my rant over. Like I wanted to say that's like people don't realize that this whole situation with the scan, they just accept it. But one of my mentors told me when I was working in physio, he said like, because people will come in with the scan and be like, "Oh, look, I've got this. And then you look at the scan and you're like, "Oh, okay." But he always said, "Treat the man, not the scan." And I thought that was okay. That's pretty good. Because so as a physiotherapist, you don't get confused and think, "Oh, okay, he's got this, so I should do this treatment." But no, treat the man. Like see what you see, not based on the actual scan. So yeah, to sum up, guys, like don't completely trust every healthcare expert that you see, especially when you see stuff on a scan. Don't get alarmed and think, "Oh, okay, I'm fucked because my disc is fucked," right? Don't get alarmed. Some findings that you see on a scan are completely normal. It's like getting gray hairs, right? So, and this is often the case. Like when people get alarmed, people get stressed. What happens? They get in more pain. Your psychology has a completely important effect on how you experience pain. So that's what I'm saying. Keep calm and make sure you go to a trusted professional when it comes to your results from your back pain. But not only that, make sure you go to a professional that not only looks at your scan, but actually looks at you and sees how you move, sees what the problem actually is. Thanks, guys.